Black Rims. I'm Mars Girl.
I'm Josh Knight the First.
And this is our season finale, season 4, episode 24.
Or episode 94 if you're counting.
And we're good, yes?
Yes, we're all good.
We're fine, we're all fine here now.
Thank you.
How are you?
No,
really,
yeah.
How are you? How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
I actually went walking earlier, trying to be more active.
Yeah, how'd that go?
It sucks right now, but I need it. Because I told you guys the story last week about how I messed up at the trampoline park. I'm not letting that happen again.
Landed on your neck,
I landed on my neck,
that.
yeah. But somehow I still have range of motion.
That's good. I want to thank you guys, as always. Thank you especially to our Patreon contributors over at patreon.com/MarsGirl. You guys definitely make this show happen every week. And with the show going to be off the air for about 4 weeks or so.
Give or take, yeah.
Give or take. That is also going to give us space to also complete a whole bunch of request reviews that I've been behind on, admittedly, and they've been due to these people who've paid for them, and I'm really excited about getting them finished.
Yes.
So thank you to you guys for helping us make this happen, for sure.
Like, first off, you're almost done with the Gaim one, right?
Yeah, I'm real excited about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is good.
I'm excited about the person who requested Batman Mask of the Phantasm.
Oh, yes.
It's real excited that they chose that because that is a favorite Batman movie of mine. So excited to talk about it.
Yes.
Yes. Anyway. Is there anything else going on, or?
Well, like, okay, we were talking about this before the show, and usually this is about the time where we either talk about our week or talk about something that's not hella nerd related. But something you guys probably heard about, like we've been talking about, and it matters to us because, you know, it's been around for so long. So there's this thing going around that Harry Shearer, who's a voice of like a good third of the cast of The Simpsons, isn't coming back.
Well, good for him.
But it's like, on the one hand, it's like, yeah, the show's been running and picked up for what, seasons 27 and 28 already, right? Mm-hmm. But by this point, people have been saying back at what, season 17, let it die?
Probably before then, too.
Because the thing about it is, like, we grew up on The Simpsons.
Yeah, of course.
You know, the old gag, like, I still quote
I was
old
so
Simpsons
not
to
allowed.
this day.
I was not allowed to watch The Simpsons.
Oh, I wasn't either, but I still did it. You know, I think everybody did that. And
because
then after
at the
a while,
time they were so edgy, you know,
Yeah.
and things have become way more edgy than The Simpsons since. But even so, like, it didn't need to get more edgy than that. That's kind of where its charm and its funny was. And unfortunately, The Simpsons are going to be running for at least another 2 seasons, with or without him, so...
Right. And the thing about it is, James L. Brooks, one of the executive producers, is, you know, publicly saying, hey, come on, dude, let's talk, let's try and keep you back here, because we don't want to lose you. I mean, really, they shouldn't. Losing him would be like losing Nancy Cartwright or Hank Azaria. Like, if they lose them, they lose a big chunk of Springfield.
Yeah, of
You know,
course.
and the show wouldn't be the same.
Because so many of those voice actors voice multiple characters.
Because Harry Shearer, he's what? He's Kent Brockman, Smithers, Mr. Burns, Flanders, like, did I say Dr. Hibbert?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did say Dr. Hibbert. But the thing is, yeah, he's... Like, these characters, you know their voice in your head already so clearly, so if you switch, if you try to recast, somebody's gonna notice.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Like, think about it, when Mrs. Krabappel's voice actor died, they didn't recast her.
No.
They killed her off.
Which, really, that should kind of say, alright, it's the end of an era, we've gone so long that our voice actors aren't
and Principal Skinner.
Yes, it's too many.
Yeah.
That's too many. That's so much core cast. I mean, not to say like the Simpsons themselves are the core cast, of course, but like you start to lose anybody else, and you're gonna start to lose some Simpsons.
Yeah, but even then, like, what's helped make the show last as long as it had is the supporting cast. You know, all these people you're interacting with all over the place. That's what makes it feel full and feel
like
enjoyable.
a whole community that you see this family live in constantly.
Right. Because by this point, you know, Springfield has been fleshed out so much and so long, everybody's got their little piece that they know about. Like, oh, yeah, I know about Ralph. Oh, yeah, I know about Lenny and Carl. You're like, yeah, you know these characters. You're used to them. But, like, they don't really have much choice. They've either got to keep him or let it die and kind of renege on that 2-year extension because it will not be the same.
No,
There's already enough outrage right now at the idea of him like we have that in joke between, well, he's gone. But yeah, if he's gone, like, what else you got? Like I think we had another friend.
Like, they would have to not even put a ton of characters into episodes.
Well, no, because it was the thing, like, I remember them writing in, if I'm not mistaken, an explanation as to why all of Phil Hartman's characters don't show up anymore over the course of a few episodes. It's just kind of in the background stuff, but of course there's a reason for why his characters aren't there anymore.
Right.
But with all of Harry Shearer's character being such main face characters, like, I think we had Chris say on Twitter, like, so what's going to happen? They're all going to be in a building that just happened to collapse with all those specific people at the same time, and that's why you never hear them anymore?
That's not too dissimilar from how they treated Chef on South Park.
Yeah.
That's just one character, not a whole bunch. Anyway, I think we're talking about this for quite some time.
But I'm just saying it's just sad. Like they said in The Dark Knight, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
You use that line way too
But
frequently.
it's applicable. It is so applicable.
Okay, just tell me.
Such great writing in that movie.
Okay, tell me about the follow-ups, please, or something.
No, we should talk about the main stories and then I'll get to the follow-ups.
Okay. Our first story of the evening that we're gonna get to here eventually is gonna be about that game Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, as is being hosted by, or being created by Koji Igarashi, who was not the creator of Castlevania, but became really well known for his interpretations of Castlevania. For example, Symphony of the Night, super popular Castlevania title, and those titles he's kind of branched off and is kickstarting this particular game, and it got funded immediately, and we'll talk about why that is and how awesome that is.
Yes. Our second story of the evening is going to be about CBS unveiling their first look at the new series Supergirl. We've had our first look at a lot of the main cast, a lot of the tone, which is come into question by a lot of fans, being very decisive, both pro and against this trailer, and we're going to talk more about that and how that's being played out.
And then finally, along similar lines too, oh boy, girl power that probably, it could go either way, although this one, no, it seems to only be going one way. Gem and the Holograms got a trailer drop just a couple of days back, and almost nobody is happy. That's hardly even news. If that was supposed to be the tagline, if this was an actual news segment being broadcasted on TV, or if this was a clickbait article, it would be like, guess what people think about this new movie trailer? You're not gonna believe. No, nobody likes it. We can talk all night about why that is, but we'll wait until later on.
No, we're going to talk a third of the night about why that is.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit later about why.
That'll be later in the show.
So tell me more about some of the follow-ups to this past week's news and junk.
Alright, let's see what we got here. So, normally we try to stick to news that's been validated, and, we don't want to give you guys a lot of speculation. We try to do that as little as possible here. However, there are many outlets reporting that Asa Butterfield, who was one of the front-runners for the role of Spider-Man, there's early reports that he has, in fact, reached the final negotiations for the part of Spider-Man, which, of course, we would see in Captain America Civil War, which is filming right now. Now, the chances are this is fairly high, because this is multiple outlets starting to hear, oh, I heard something, which is why we're not confirming the news, we're just saying that news is circulating.
Yeah, if it weren't for the fact that it were hitting other pretty large nerd news outlets, then we probably wouldn't have mentioned it at all, but, it was a good start.
But at the same time, we'll be happy to know, because by this point people have been wondering, well, who's it going to be? Because it was 6 guys on the list that were the front runners, and they're all fairly young, but this guy, he was most recently seen in Ender's Game, right? And a
lot of people liked him.
Well, yeah, a lot of people liked him. A lot of people liked the movie, but he's just got such a baby face,
Well, that's because he's young.
Yeah, that's because he's really young. And we were talking about this earlier. If Marvel agreed that they were going to do another Spider-Man movie within their continuity, they already said, we're not going to do an origin story. We're going to take for granted that everybody knows it already. That's fine. But if you're going to not need an origin story, do you have to keep him in high school? That was my question.
Yeah. I would assume if the origin story has already happened, he at least has some experience under his belt, so maybe they will manage to make him look roughed up enough for it to work. I don't know. I need to wait and see. I really don't know yet.
Well, because really the bottom line is, despite physical appearance, which in my book does weigh some for, Spider-Man, again, the tone.
Mm-hmm.
That was something I think for a lot of people that complain about, the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies, like, oh, I didn't like them, there was too much this, too much that. I think the tone of the character was very correct, and if they can manage to get pretty close to that, I'll be happy with this. But of course, that's probably something we'll end up confirming once we come back from break.
Right.
In other news, we've got confirmation of Mighty No. 9's Japanese voice cast. Mighty No. 9, of course, being the Kenji Inafune game that all of us gave into, and we're just waiting for our copies now.
Yeah, they're taking a while, and some people are kind of displeased about the direction it ultimately took. I think it's going in a fine enough direction.
I'm fine with it. I don't have a problem.
Strangely enough, a lot of people are actually really disappointed in, it doesn't look the way we thought it was going to look when they originally pitched it to us. But in any case, voice actors, yes.
Yes, so Ayumu Murase is Beck. Mao Ichimichi, who goes by her stage name MAO, is Call.
Can you give any description of who these people are?
Well, Beck is Mighty No. 9, the main character. Call is basically the role character.
No. Who are the actors? Who are these people?
Oh, well, Mao, and specifically Mao Ichimichi, she was Gokai Yellow on Gokaiger. For Beck, he was Toshiashiki in Gundam Build Fighters Try. Let's see, who else was...
That's okay. That's
okay,
good.
fine.
We'll talk about some of the other
ones.
ones.
Moving on to some other ones. Who do we got? There was one in specific. Tetsu Inada is Mighty No. 4, Seismic. He was Doggy Kruger in Deca Ranger.
Okay.
And a lot of other, nice big names. So, it's nice that they're getting full treatment over there. This is a solid cast.
It makes sense. It's a Japanese development studio with a lot of big name developers creating it. I am not shocked that they have big name voice actors working on it. Like, that is the least of my surprise.
Yes. But, very happy to be hearing that. In other, I guess you'd say, Japanese news, we've got our first bit of rumors coming in for this year's upcoming Kamen Rider, which will debut in the fall. And the rumors are, we've had this complaint for a couple of years that they're running out of ideas with the gimmick of a Kamen Rider. It was hard to work around fruit and bicycle locks and cars. The current rumor, and...
Oh my god, get to the point.
Fashion. It's based off fashion. That the collectible item would be buttons that he puts in the belt, and that would his transformation would look like a curtain.
You didn't tell me about we talked about this before, but you didn't tell me about the buttons part.
I was just that embarrassed to say it. I'm just buttons. Buttons.
You're joking with
I'm
me,
not
right?
joking.
Because
I am not joking.
Buttons aren't that dissimilar from coins, which have been done.
Right, with O's, yeah.
Coins have been done. Buttons are smaller, more losable coins.
Yes.
You'll have to buy more of them.
Yes.
That's the idea.
I thought the same thing, Blade Hero. Ixa demands your button, yeah.
Or a no button, I like that.
I hope this one's a fake. I really hope, but with the recent track record...
Move on as if it is a fake, please.
Okay, I'll move on as if it is a fake. In current writer news, Kamen Rider Drive, he, in the current series, the main character Drive, Shinnosuke Tomari, has a little candy that he eats. And he does it just about every other episode, pops a couple in his mouth and then goes on, solves a case. Well, a company decided to go ahead and put out said candy. Like, you know what, it's a good tie-in. We'll go ahead and make the candy. Well, apparently, within about the course of 2 hours, this candy completely sold out on Amazon. Like,
That's
if
amazing.
you wanted some, you can't get any. They're gone.
Oh, they'll make more.
Oh, they'll probably make more.
They'll make more. It makes too much money.
Yeah,
they'll make more.
Too much money. So, interesting to see that there's that much pull for just a small little item on the show. You think, oh, what's going to make money? Belts, toys, all the little shiny things.
No,
nope,
candy makes sense. They advertise for Kamen Rider gummies almost every episode.
Which I actually got to have, and they're actually pretty good. They're about the same flavor as Welch's gummies over here.
Makes sense.
Like, if I could ship those in, yeah, those are pretty good. For anybody asking, it's kind of like a little caramel milk candy.
The one that they just sold out of.
Yeah, the one that they just sold out. Yeah, it's like a little caramel milk candy.
So it's like a Rolo.
Kind of like a Rolo, but they've got a little... it's got like a white out layer that they say tastes milky. I imagine it tastes alright.
Yeah, alright, whatever you say.
Yes. In other news, let's see what we've got. Interesting news about the next Ninja Turtles movie that we've got coming out. Judith Hoag, who was the original April O'Neil in the, first Ninja Turtles movie, has actually been spotted on set, and she has a role in the movie.
Interesting.
Apparently it looks like she's April's boss or something of that nature. April now being played by Megan Fox, and she's looking pretty good for her age.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, happy to see that she's on set, and happy to see that this movie seems to be trying to tie back a little better to what make the Turtles the Turtles.
Right.
I'm not saying it's going to be incredible.
Now,
I'm just saying,
like I've said before, I didn't think that Turtles movie was the worst thing ever, but probably within the 3 worst ever, but not the very bottom, and most certainly not the very top.
Oh, no, absolutely
That's all I'm going to say. Like, I think it could have done a lot worse, like Turtles 3 worse.
Yes.
Yeah.
In other news, we've got some news out of Nintendo. They're planning on bringing back the World Championship, and people saw this announcement through a very funny video that they released, showing Reggie training himself through multiple...
With GameCubes and Virtual Boys and Wii Balance
the
Boards.
Shooter, the Super Nintendo...
Super Scope?
The Super Scope, yeah,
Super
using 2
Scope.
Super Scopes and using those as weights as well. Interesting that they're bringing this back, and it's been, 25 years?
25 years
25 since they've done this.
since the Nintendo World Championships have been at E3. It's gonna be amazing!
But we're not gonna be there!
Yeah, I know, that's okay.
Yeah, that's kind of sad. I honestly wish.
Alright.
Okay, in other news, we did have a lot of other news to cover tonight, but I just wanted to talk about this for a second. Just earlier today, we got our first look at the DC series that's showing up on the CW, DC Legends of Tomorrow. They've got our first look available now on YouTube. You guys can go ahead and see that, which is going to be a crossover series that has the commercial here has Arrow and Flash, but it's mainly going to revolve around Captain Cold, Heatwave, Atom, White Canary. They've actually managed to bring back Katie Lotz as they basically showed they put her in the Lazarus Pit. That's how they worked around that. Half of Firestorm, Martin Stein in specific, Rip Hunter, and this new Hawk Girl. And of course, there's a couple of teases in there to other questions. And apparently they're going to be taking on Vandal Savage, of all people. Which is interesting because people were wondering if Vandal Savage was originally going to show up in Arrow, but no, I guess they're saving him for this series. And it looks to be on par with all these other shows that they're doing. A lot of high energy, high action, fairly decent amount of jokes, but very interesting to see how they're going to pull this off. I'm excited. I know you don't watch.
I don't watch. I'm sorry. That's not something I can comment on, not because I dislike, but because I don't know anything. I just plain don't know anything.
But at the least, this is going to have a mid-season premiere once everybody picks up again later on in the fall with next seasons of Flash and Arrow. But definitely looking forward to that one. I like what the team's producing. Of course, they've had amazing... was it last night Arrow's finale, and then next week is Flash's finale for the current season. So I can only hope that this matches up with that, and it looks like they're going to deliver.
Okay, you done?
I'm just going to squeak real quick. Okay, I'm good.
Oh, wow, that was annoying. Okay, so we're going to go... Yes, that's our first story. Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night. Really excited about this. Okay, so to start our initial really big... beefy topic here. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. What the heck is that? There is a phrase that has been coined apparently by certain types of Castlevania fans known as Igavania, where the creator of certain later Castlevania games, producer Koji Igarashi, he's really well known for his kind of Castlevania games, and a lot of people who weren't calling them Igavania titles were calling them, like, Metroidvania, and in that sense it's like side-scrolling with multiple directions that you could possibly take.
Yeah, exactly.
You start to be able to switch out characters and stuff like that. It's that kind of gameplay that he got really well known for. There's a certain art style that kind of came along with it. But there are certain fans, specifically Japanese fans, who started calling them Igavania titles. So that's kind of the feel that Koji Igarashi is attempting to recreate with Bloodstained. So Bloodstained, you might not know, Konami about a year or so ago told Koji, well, nobody's interested in Castlevania kind of titles anymore. And Koji was like, bye, and he left Konami.
Bye, Felicia.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, Konami, you're doing so well with your decisions, you know, with all these other things going on. I think it was only a matter of time before something like this happened. Well, lo and behold, this week we got what we expected. Mm-hmm. He launched this Kickstarter just at the beginning of this week, asking for the initial amount of $500,000.
Yeah, $500,000, which he said most of his funding actually had come from loans from banks. But it was under the pretense of them saying, well, we'll give it to you, but you need to prove that people actually want it. And so he was like, oh, I can do that. Throw up a Kickstarter. And lo and behold, boom, funded in less than a day.
Fully funded
fully funded in less than a day, and they hit all their stretch goals. So much so, they have since needed to add more stretch goals. So let's go over the stretch goals that have already been knocked out, right?
Well, the first goal was, of course, funding. With another $100,000, they were going to have an art book that would be a hardcover edition, which is, you know, pretty cool. A lot of people like collecting those. At $700,000, they would have a second playable character.
Done.
800,000 Nightmare Mode.
Done.
850, they get David Hayter.
See, this is the ultimate FU to Konami. It's so plain as day.
It reeks of, hey. What's behind here? What's behind here? You know? You want me to tell you? Like, how can you not see this as an affront to Konami? Mm-hmm. Like, when you're specifically going after David Hayter, who everybody already knows as Snake, you know, that's directly feeding into people's, oh, man, you know, like, I was already going to say F you to Konami, but you got David Hayter. How much do you want?
Right?
Like, just take all the cards. Just take them. Just...
Followed by that, $1 million was cheat codes.
They got that.
$1,250,000 local co-op.
They got that.
$1,500,000 new boss.
They got that.
$1,750,000 speed run mode.
They got that.
Their next one, which they have almost attained at $2 million, is Boss Rush mode.
They're coming up on it.
They're pretty close. I would dare say it'll be by tomorrow they hit that.
Perhaps.
And then there's another level after that that is $2,250,000. And that's a retro level, so I imagine everything's gonna look 8 or 16.
Keep in mind, people, this Kickstarter still has 29 days to go.
It is so...
Wow.
Yeah, it's happening.
It's happening.
It's happening.
And the thing is, you know, this is... I think it's safe enough to say that this is becoming more commonplace now. Mm-hmm. That, you know, if a creator or a studio part ways on less than amicable terms, and they're very well known for their style of work or a game that they've made, it's only a matter of time now before they go the Kickstarter route and create a kind of carry-on project.
It's very much the, I'm gonna make my own casino with blackjack and hookers kind of scenario.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you... A lot of people will tell you, oh, if you think you can make a better game, why don't you go do it yourself? Okay, fine, I will. You know, let them, because then stuff like this is happening. You know,
exactly.
The first way I heard about Bloodstained, I didn't necessarily understand. I got this email from, what's the name of the group that's making Mighty Number 9 right now? Comcept.
Comcept, yes.
Comcept. I got an email from Comcept, and it was just this weird image. And it was of Koji Igarashi, kind of 8-bit and sitting in a chair, looking all Dracula of Castlevania, and it's like, wait until tomorrow, new information, blah blah blah. I'm like, what is this? Is this spam? I don't know what this is.
And then here comes the Kickstarter.
And then the next day, this Kickstarter came out. So yeah.
And the thing about it is, if you still want to give, you're more than welcome to. 29 days to go. Really, the two best options for you are just $5. You're in. Thank you. Glad you helped. But really the one you want is the next one up, $28 or more, you get your digital copy for either Steam, PS4, or Xbox One.
I think I'm going to at least make mention that, yes, the next door neighbors are quite noisy right now, and that is very,
They just bought a new guitar.
They just bought a new guitar. Anyway, let's keep going.
Yeah, let's see what some of these other things are. If you give 60, you get a physical copy, but you have to pay $5 for shipping. It's not bad.
No, it's not so bad. But really, physical copies have been strangely hard to come by on Indiegogo and Kickstarter projects, so a lot of people are excited about their physical discs.
Yes, you can also get a copy of the soundtrack, a PDF of the strategy guide, all of the things you got before that, digital copy for your friend, it looks like. Soft cover art book, basically a lot of the stuff that we already covered.
It goes on and on, really. The art design, I think, is quite good. They didn't get back the same artist that they had consistently been using throughout the Castlevania titles, but they got one that is so similar enough, and I like it because it's different. They're boasting this crafting system in it. I saw some people were like, crafting. Why is it always got to be about crafting anymore? I'm going to spend all this time crafting. Blah. Some people are real into crafting, though. I admit crafting is less important on my list, and sometimes it gets really frustrating, but maybe it'll be good. They're looking to obtain other really good, notable voice actors. I bet you it's coming.
It's coming, because...
I'm sure it's coming.
Because the first thing they said was, if we get David Hayter, he's the main character. Well, he's the main character now.
Yeah. So, I just think it's really interesting. It is a good way to say F you to Konami, because Konami's been making really bad decisions, and they might just go mobile platform only sometime in the near future. I don't know. And a lot of people are like, so when are Hideo Kojima and Guillermo del Toro gonna team up for a Kickstarter for Silent Hills? Well, see, it's gonna cost way more money to make a game of that kind of Hollywood production value that they were trying to get out of it, but I feel like if they simply didn't worry about graphics so much, and if they didn't necessarily want to worry about getting a big-name actor in there, they could still make a fantastic
I don't know
game.
about that. Regis would still do it.
He'd still need to get paid.
Yeah, and I'm sure if they went Kickstarter, it would be funded before I could finish snapping my fingers.
Maybe, I don't know. That would take some doing.
And you want to talk about production value? All right, talk about the dang video that this thing had. This thing is dripping with kind of a little tongue-in-cheek atmosphere from Koji Igarashi. There in this castle, talking about, hey, you guys know the kind of stuff I've done. I've been away for a while, but I'm back now, and you know what I'm back with. Yeah, check it out, Bloodstained.
They even had to go. They had to go and credit at the end of this video who his production team in California, I think, was, who helped him make this video. And it's like, man, the video production is so good. I just want to give him payment for making this video.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, when you think about it in comparison to say the initial video that we got for Mighty No. 9's Kickstarter, Kenji Inafune was a lot more humble with his approach. Like, we really need your help. This is something that means a lot to us. We'd really appreciate it if you guys got to work on this and help us bring this to life. Where over here it's like, nah, man, I'm a dang vampire. You want this? Come on, you know who I am. Let's do this. They said I couldn't make another game. They were wrong. Let's do this. Come on,
But the funny thing is, it doesn't come off as too a-hole-ish.
No, not at all.
It comes off more like he knows he's doing it for the fun of it, and he just wants to make a friggin' fun game because other people want this friggin' fun game.
And they do. How many?
25,180 at the time of staring at this, which if we leave it open, it will go up while we're staring at it, I promise you.
Oh yeah, that happens continually whenever we cover a Kickstarter like this or an Indiegogo. It'll just go up.
Yeah.
Because people want this.
So I'm actually going to leave in the comments or here in the chat the link to this Kickstarter, which is right here. You guys are going to be hearing me say that, and it will not be coming up at the same time as I'm actually sending it, but there it is in the chat. So you guys can check that out for yourselves, see if that is something that you're going to at all be interested in, if that's something you want to get in on the ground floor on, because I think I might. We'll go halvesies on and get at least one copy. Yeah. I absolutely agree.
Yes. So definitely get on that. Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, Koji Igarashi, get with it, act like you want it. Because you know you do.
Calm down.
What? It looks freaking cool.
Okay.
Okay, so moving on to our next story of the evening. Supergirl. Alright.
Yay!
Now, the thing about Supergirl is...
This is getting some wishy-washy reception.
Well, yeah, and yeah...
Some like, alright, and some are like, oh no, and we gotta find this place in between somewhere.
Now, we have to talk about this very carefully, actually, because a lot of the talk can kind of go over into our last section, but we'll try and keep it as superhero-centric as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Just to bring it into context here. So, we knew that this series had gotten greenlit. We know they're cleared for a full season. You know, they're going to go ahead and put out as many episodes as they can, whether I think it's a 24-episode order, something like that, thereabouts. And we knew what this was going to be, and we knew this was coming out from the same people that have worked on the successful CW shows, both The Flash and Arrow. And like I was saying at the beginning of the show, those shows are doing very well. But the problem with those shows, and a lot of people agree with this, is that while the storytelling for the most part is great, and they've got some really endearing characters with a lot of nuance, they've had more than their fair share of problem in writing females. And the thing about it is, when this show was announced, Supergirl, people were wondering, well, what's going to be the tone of it? How are they going to handle this? Because one, people were worried about crossovers, you know, since it's, you know, done from the same people. But at the same time, can it be its own existing property?
Can it stand on its own 2 feet?
Can it stand on its own 2 feet? The next thing I got to bring up is just this past weekend, Scarlett Johansson was, or no, actually last weekend, Scarlett Johansson was hosting Saturday Night Live, and they made this parody trailer about what it would be like if Marvel actually did a Black Widow movie, but made it like a chick flick.
Yeah, but because they come at it like, what? Are they scared to make a female superhero movie? Which, you know, a lot of people are arguing. And then, yeah, then they turn it into Black Widow. She's got to be blah, blah, blah. She's got to hold down 2 lives at once. Blah, blah, blah.
Black Widow's got an important job at a fashion magazine. Blah, blah, blah.
Doing backflips into the fashion magazine editorial rooms.
Black Widow, Age of Me. And it's like, yeah, okay, we get the joke, because people are afraid that somebody would actually make a show or a movie like that.
And ironically, yeah, this kind of teaser piece of footage that we've gotten of Supergirl looks almost exactly like the joke. And maybe that's not such a good thing. Like, I'm really excited that they're taking the risk in doing the character at all, but at the same time, it's very much like, how am I going to juggle being a superhero girl and having to worry about my boyfriend? And the prom's tomorrow!
Granted, you know, she's not in high school or anything, but there's
no,
that
she's
similar...
not in high school.
I forget who it was last night. I think it was Nash who retweeted something like that. Like, you can tell people wanted it to be more girl power centric than superhero centric. Like, I think the example he gave was like, well, we're gonna let you have the idea, but can you make it more like Felicity? Yeah. And you can kind of get that tone, because it takes a good... How long do you have to get into this trailer?
Yeah, I was like really waiting, like, alright, when does she become Supergirl?
It takes like a full 2 minutes before you get the full sensation of, oh, this is an adaptation of a DC property. Huh. Like, yeah, it starts out with the whole, yeah, she's leaving Krypton because it's about to blow up, but at the same time, they very heavily focus on how hard it is for her to be a woman. And the thing about it is, that's kind of a complaint that comes up with Marvel, and now it's going to come up with DC, is how exactly do you get the tone right for your female hero?
'Cause I'll say this much, it's not like, it's not like the issue of a working girl being a working girl and getting like, you're a girl in a working environment where it's a lot of men, blah, blah, blah. Like, that is still like a really common issue today that's really sickening that it still even exists today. Yes, but like, let's think about this. Like, Mary Tyler Moore, okay?
Right.
How long ago was that?
70s.
Yes. So, I think what women would prefer, I'll at least say what I would prefer as a woman.
Fair enough, fair enough.
I would prefer, okay, how about a character that we don't have to say, oh no, look at me, I'm a girl in a man's world, how am I gonna prove that I'm an equal? No, she's an equal already. Just make her a person. Just make her a person who also happens to be a superhero. Let her worry about superhero problems and not necessarily quote-unquote girl problems. Because girl problems technically are just people problems.
Yeah,
they're
that's
just
fair enough.
human being problems. Let's not bring it forward and direct it like it's a girl thing. No, I just want to be a person. If that's okay with you.
Well, because the thing about this trailer is that the initial first look that they put out is 6.5 minutes, which is kind of long for a first look, but I appreciate it because it gives you more of a feeling. There's both that feeling of, oh, you know, I'm a girl working in a man's world, but at the same time, there's a lot of throwbacks to actual DC lore that make me want to watch the show as, you know, just a comic book fan, not necessarily a male, just somebody who likes comic books, you know, and comic book adaptations. But the thing about it is, yeah, there does seem to be a lot of the other half of what makes this show seeping in. When they have, what is it, this general here in the show tell her, maybe you need to go back to being a secretary. It's like, dude, she can punch through a wall. What's your problem?
Yeah.
Like, you're really gonna tell this superhuman, this alien, we don't need you? Like, I imagine that's probably from a scene where she screwed up, but that scene left alone, put in a trailer, sends a different message.
Now, to say that she would never get any sexism thrown her way would be kind of, that would be kind of silly, because this is
like,
still...
it would come up.
This is still the world we live in, where sexism is still a problem, so it's not like, it would never come up, you know, like you're saying. But the fact that it's, like, dripping with, oh my god, every problem I have is a girl problem, except for this plane falling out of the sky. That's, like, a really big problem for everybody. So I better go take care of that. But the rest of it does kind of drip with, we don't know how to write this woman as a person. We only know how to write her as a stereotypical woman.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. Now, one thing I can appreciate is that here in this promo, they show kind of the evolution of her costume, which I imagine will happen within the first episode or two. And, you know, they're trying to show, I think they're kind of obvious nods to costumes that Supergirl's worn over the years, eventually settling on the one they've got now. Which is fine, you know, that's always something I complain about in any adaptation, is if you can rationalize how the hero gets their costume, I feel better about getting into that world.
Yeah, I get that.
You know, because sometimes they just so gloss it over. Like, I actually remember, was it the original Richard Donner Superman, which I love. It's so out of left field, because, you know, there's that whole very trancey sort of, we're floating through space, and there's this whole monologue by Marlon Brando, and then we're back in the Fortress of Solitude, and now, what does he say, like 12 years have passed, and now he's just in the costume. Like, there's no explanation, but that was a different time. Storytelling was different. You could get away with that.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's like, no, we can see, you know, people were designing it. That's cool. I can rationalize that. Which is great. And the show, you know, will probably take off, because the thing that makes these shows successful, of course, the writing and the actors portraying these characters, and Melissa Benoist looks like she's going to be fine in the role. Like, she seems fine.
Her performance doesn't really bother me, but it's a matter of what she's working with.
Right. And the thing is, they'll have at least a season to prove themselves. Now, again, Greg Berlanti, who's writing for this, has also written for the other ones. I would hope, because they kind of demonstrated this with The Flash this week, is that The Flash made commentary on things that people complain about in Arrow. So the hope for myself here for this show is that if Arrow happens, then Flash happens, and Flash can watch Arrow and be like, you know what, we know where we messed up there, let's fix it here. That Supergirl can be over here on a different network and see, okay, I see what we got wrong with these two, let's fix it here. And namely, the problem being, you know, how do you handle your female characters? Because, you know, the problem we have on say, Flash is that with a character like Iris, she's nothing more than a plot device, like, oh, we need her to get captured again. And then her character doesn't feel that well fleshed out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she deserves to be a part of the action, but we know she's important because she's a face character from the comics. No, you want your people to feel full and real, and I can say this for myself, and a lot of other actors can say this, you can only do so much with a crap script.
Yeah.
And the hope here is that they'll work their way around that. Because, yeah, admittedly, they've probably already got a few episodes in the can already, and it'll take a while for the episodes to catch up. Because social media, it's different now in this time that we live in, because you'll get feedback that much faster.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people will be live blogging this, live tweeting this, and you'll find out real fast whether or not they like it.
Yeah, very true.
So, hopefully, by, say, mid-season, if they don't quite have their footing, they'll learn real quick, change this, change this, change this, because they pay attention to that stuff now.
Mm-hmm.
So, the hope is, of course, that they'll have that in and of itself. The other problem that comes up is that people are wondering about, well, you guys directly mentioned Superman, and you kind of sort of show him his silhouette. How are you going to dance around him not being there?
He'll be around, but she's handling her own crap, because she's an independent woman who don't need no man.
Who don't need no super.
Oh my god, I'm stopping this right now.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna see it. It'll be on CBS this fall. We'll definitely give it a looks over. And
a looks over.
Yeah, looks over.
A look over.
Looksy. Is that better? Would you prefer?
I hate
look-see?
that word. You know what? I'm done.
Looks
I'm done.
over. We'll tell you more about it later.
Okay.
So that leaves us a lot of time, which I think we're gonna need to talk about this trash.
So, Gem and the Holograms, right?
I'm gonna let you run.
Because we've talked about Gem and the Holograms a number of times before, and we were waiting for this to finally happen. John Chu, who is the director, as you might be able to see on this tiny, tiny poster, although you probably can't, the director of Justin Bieber's Never Say Never movie from several years ago.
And also G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra.
And G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra, so that'll kind of tell you the caliber of movie he makes. And G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra, that's interestingly enough, another movie based on an animated series that was animated by the exact same studio as Gem and the Holograms. So, you would think... Actually, no, I don't even know where I'm going with that. You would think he could do something with it. Because, no, G.I. Joe 2 Rise of Cobra was not that great.
Well, because you think about the track record so far. Because we're talking about, Hasbro properties here.
Yeah.
You look at Transformers. Not quite Transformers.
Not quite Transformers, but I'm going to tell you this much. At least Transformers is a whole hell of a lot more like Transformers than Gem appears to be like Gem.
Yes,
And
I can agree to that.
Maybe even G.I. Joe looks a lot more G.I. Joe than Gem.
Well, at least you can work
does.
around G.I. Joe, because at least characters look the way they're supposed to. Some of them act the way they're supposed to. I mean, yeah, you made it focus on Roadblock a little hard in the second one. But on the whole, I can still kind of rationalize, yeah, that's Cobra, that's Cobra Commander.
Yeah. So, Gem and the Holograms, this poster dropped a couple of days back, along with later on that same day, the trailer dropped, and oh my god, what is this garbage? What is this? Because it is not Gem and the Holograms. Who is it trying to cater to? Because it's not the original fans, and it's not, like, normal people. Or if it is normal people, then it's, like, bottom of the barrel normal people. Because, like, it is so normal, and that's the thing that is so angering about it, because nothing about Gem and the Holograms was quote-unquote normal. That was completely the selling point. The selling point was that it's a girl who's already an adult. She's at least 18 years old. It's argued she's between 18 and 21.
Yeah.
They never specifically say.
In my mind, I always imagined she was 1920.
Yeah. She already owns half of Starlight Music because her dad owned Starlight Music, and she was perhaps not exactly old enough to take full responsibility of the company. Maybe it's something like a clause in there, like you get part ownership when you're of legal age, and then you get full ownership at 21. Maybe something like that.
Yeah.
I could see that happening. They don't actually say that. But But the other half is owned by this jackass named Eric Raymond, who also handles this other band called the Misfits, and he's gonna be turning Starlight Music into his own thing. He's doing all this stuff with it, like Starlight Music is his own property when Jem owns half the company, but Eric... Jerica, excuse me. Jerica Benton owns half the company, but Eric doesn't give a crap. So he's just running things like it's his own. And then there's, the Starlight House for Girls, which is an orphanage that her dad set up. So there's all these other little girls running around that look up to these musicians and stuff. And then one day Jerica finds out, oh, my dad left me with a supercomputer that transmits a hologram of a jazzercise ghost into the air, and she gives me the magical hologram powers to change into whatever the hell I want. My dad also left me with this snazzy car and a whole bunch of musical instruments, and we learned how to play these musical instruments overnight, and then we became rock stars that saved our music company. Like, it is so... And they stop the Misfits from, like, killing people and destroying things. Like, this is so lawsuit heavy. Like, this should be as action-packed as G.I. Joe, is what I'm telling you. And this is so the opposite of being action-packed like G.I. Joe, but with women in it. It is completely the opposite of that. So instead, Jerica Benton... is a teenage girl, probably still underage, it seems.
In this, now we're talking about the current one.
Seems in this movie. Okay. She's currently underage. Her and her younger sister, Kimber, that is correct. They are sisters, and their parents apparently are dead, I guess. Or not around at the very least. $10 says her dad comes back later. $10 says he comes back. They're living with their aunt, okay, that's wrong, with her two foster kids, kind of close but not really, and that's Aja and, oh shoot, I forget the other character's name. Oh no, I'm a horrible Jem fan!
Aja and Shauna.
Aja and Shauna, who they've, not allowed to have their very natural, ethnic looks that the show gave them originally. They were also adults, and we're not orphans.
Right.
And we're not in foster care. They were the ones who were helping run the orphanage with lots of other orphaned children, so all of that is wrong, okay? And for some reason they already know how to play musical instruments. That's also wrong. And one day, Jerica is recording this song, right? Like in her room, and she's just trying to share it privately to, I don't know, her sister, I guess?
And or something. Or rather, Kimber records her and then puts it on the internet.
Without her permission, because Jerica's all shy. She's shy, she doesn't like cameras, she don't want people to see her, oh no. And then suddenly becomes this, boom, mega YouTube superstar! Oh my god, this is incredible. This is so not how this works. This is not how Jem works.
So like, Never Say Never, right? Based off, that was the movie about Justin Bieber, right?
Who became a star after being discovered on YouTube. Yes, so that's how that works.
So you guys mixed up the thing you're trying to supposedly adapt with the movie you already made for somebody else about a story that actually happened.
Yeah.
Am I getting that right?
Yes.
Okay, alright,
so then they're like, oh my god, the biggest record company in the world wants to sign us? I'm just like, what the hell, what is this? What is this? The biggest record company in the world wants to, this is not Pitch Perfect, okay? This is, apparently it is, I guess I'm wrong. So Starlight, Jericho does not own Starlight, she is being signed by to Starlight. By some lady person now, that I don't...
Nobody's confirmed this yet, but the character here is being played by Juliette Lewis, who's been, great actress, been in a lot of things, Natural Born Killers, she was amazing in that. Mm-hmm. The rumor is, if I'm not mistaken, that she is actually the gender swap version of Eric. That she's Erica.
Which would be really stupid considering there's a Jerica and an Erica. That would be really confusing. That would be incredibly confusing.
Well, that would be confusing if you were trying to remain faithful to the source material.
No, it would be confusing because it's a movie where two names sound almost exactly the same. That's where it would be confusing.
Whatever.
At least they introduced Rio. So far, he seems accurate enough in his placement. Like, yeah, he's working... He's already supposed to be Jerrica's boyfriend, for starters, right? And now they're meeting here at Starlight Music. No, that's kind of not right. But otherwise, yeah, he's there, and he's working there with them, and he's kind of being something of a roadie, I guess. So for the most part, his character's kind of okay. But the idea of Jem and the Holograms as a band, as a look, comes from the record company Starlight Music, rather than coming from, really, the brains of Jerrica Benton telling Synergy, her supercomputer, hey, I want to look like this so that nobody knows who I am, so that I can save my father's record company. Make me look like this. We're gonna start calling ourselves Jem and the Holograms. And she's called Jem and the Holograms because they're using holograms to make all sorts of really freaking cool imagery of whatever the hell they want. It's not a whole bunch of, like, a team of fashion experts who are making her up. No, where's the mystical, magical robot supercomputer that's making it all happen? Where is it? I did not want fashion. Like, I wanted fashion, but I wanted fashion that came from, like, the person's head, and I wanted, like, this combination of magic and technology. This is so the opposite of that.
See, I think, and I think I told you about this, the comparison that I see here is the same way I feel about Gotham giving young Bruce Wayne the Batcave at his age and saying, oh, your dad already built it. Like, no, the whole point of the story is that Bruce is supposed to work on his own for years, develop skills, and then he finds and builds and outfits the Batcave. Mm-hmm. Like, it completely derails part of the character development to just give somebody that.
Yeah.
And here, it's the same deal, whereas when you look at the original series, I mean, you could say, yeah, it was for girls, but I've heard more than enough guys say, yeah, I watched it, it was cool, you know. Back then, we just watched cartoons because they were cartoons. But the thing about it is, Jerrica turning into Jem isn't how we view celebrity today. The way they kind of played it off back when the series was out was Jem was, in a weird sort of way, kind of like a superhero. In a way. In a way,
where most of the problems of society were caused by one source, and that was the Misfits just being jackasses all over the place, and kind of trying to haphazardly push people off of bridges.
But the thing is, Jem and the Holograms would sometimes have to save the day, as it were.
Yeah, exactly. There was a lot of day saving, there was a lot of explosions, there was a lot of, oh, we gotta do these high-flying stunts in, like... like, they're having to fly through buildings on, like, gliders to chase down the Misfit. Like, really stupid crap.
Well, no,
happening.
Actually, the chat's coming to the same conclusion. Think about it. Jem, no parents, Batman, no parents. Batman, supercomputer, Jem, supercomputer. Has to fight a bunch of people in clown makeup, has to fight a bunch of people in clown makeup. What's the difference?
A goose.
A goose is the difference. No, a goose wrote this script. That's what I'm saying here.
Which then turns into a, oh, you think you're better than us kind of story. This is not how family is supposed to act. Which, I will give it this much. There was 1 to 2 episodes that kind of went down that path, where, for some reason, 1 or 2, or some of the members of the Misfits would think, or the Misfits, of Jem and the Holograms would think that... somehow get the impression that they were too good for the band, or somebody else would get the else thought that of themselves, and then there would be internal fighting, but they would be, like, over it within a day. Like, that's not what the core of the movie or the series was about. And now I'm really bothered that maybe this trailer only tells me so much. I will give it that benefit of a doubt, but the idea of the phrase Showtime synergy.
Like, they threw that in there almost, what?
To make you
4/5 of the way through this trailer.
To make you kind of go, oh, okay, they know what they're doing because they said the catchphrase. Where I'm like, but what does it mean anymore? maybe there's holograms involved somewhere and they're trying to hide it really hard because they want a really generic audience first to be like, oh, this could be a really cool teen pop star kind of story, and then sneak in a second trailer later where all that crap shows up. Maybe, except I highly doubt it. But what does it mean now? What does Showtime's synergy mean now?
Well, because the thing about it is, you look at the tone of the trailer, and it very much feels like another rehash of Camp Rock or Hannah Montana, you know, aimed at a much younger audience. But the thing is, you're using a brand that a much older audience recognizes. And the thing about it is that older audience has a lot of disposable income, has a lot of pull on social media, and they are pissed.
Oh man, it was so funny going and watching people respond directly to John Chu on Twitter. Now granted, I will say good on these people for not outright death threatening him.
Like, this isn't they're not going after him like they went after Joss Whedon. This is more like, dude, this looks like crap. What did you do wrong?
Yeah, and I just really like the guy who was like, you need to go to movie prison. No, movie jail.
Movie jail.
You need to go to movie jail.
I'm just saying,
that was my favorite dude.
Like, can we have a movie jail?
Oh, yes. Let's have a movie jail for him, for, I don't know.
Uwe Boll.
Uwe Boll. That's a good
Michael Bay.
Possibly Michael Bay.
Tim Burton.
Oh, okay. We're starting to stretch too far. It's not like Tim Burton has never made a good movie, but...
But he hasn't made a good one in a while.
It's just to give him some credit, man. But
Edward Scissorhands.
All the same, I think Gem and the Holograms could have been done. One, it probably should have taken place in the 80s, and it totally could have been done, and people would have watched it. Two, treat it tongue-in-cheek, because the cartoon wasn't serious. It was, like, I can't stand that people think, Hollywood seems to think that we need to make a movie off of a cartoon series, but we need to serious it the F up.
Yeah.
Why do you need to do that to a cartoon series? It's a cartoon for a reason.
Like, in that sense, I can't hardly get off the mindset that while I'm not 100% happy with it, this most recent Ninja Turtles movie, they at least knew to be campy in certain ways, and I can't fault them for that.
Yeah.
Whereas here, where a lot of it was just like, you know, outrageous situations in the 80s, you could adapt that into stuff now and still have it be lighthearted and fun, but here it's more generic girl power, you know what I mean?
Oh my god, that music she sings is so vapid. I hate that kind of music these days. Maybe I'm just getting old. Maybe that's it. But oh my god, that is so not even the kind of music that I pictured Gem ever singing ever. And they try to picture like she's a rock star, but that's not rock music.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, she gets famous for a song on that Kimber puts out on YouTube that sounds very, in my opinion, generic. You know, it sounds like anybody out there can put that kind of music out there. It's a dime a dozen now.
Yeah.
Which means if it's a dime a dozen now, what makes her case unique?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that takes the realism out of it, because realistically, there's a bunch of other people who sound just like her.
Exactly.
So why her?
I don't know. All I have to say is, some people have brought it up before, the IDW comic adaptation that just recently came out.
Go read that.
That is one where, you know, it is different and yet the same. Different enough to bring it up to speed, like these are girls who now, yes, they do in fact already know how to play their musical instruments. Like, let's face it, the cartoon absolutely didn't make sense that they already automatically knew how to play all their instruments. That was kind of crazy. But it was kind of similar enough, like the Misfits are still friggin' there. They still have to discover, oh my god, Jazzercise Ghost. Synergy still has to show up, and they have to just be and it's funny, they go through stuff that happens in the very first episode where she's like, I can make Aja look like Shauna, and I can make Shauna look like Kimber, and I can do they go through all the stuff like, wow, this person actually watched the cartoon, that's friggin' amazing, which is completely opposite from what this trailer is portraying to me. Go read the IDW comics. I highly suggest it. Also, some of the girls are slightly beefier, but don't look ugly, and they look awesome.
No, they look great, you know.
They look like real women.
Yes.
It's amazing. Anyway.
But rounding it up, I think one of the major problems that I'm seeing is the fact that here in this trailer, they present the problem as fame itself, whereas the original series presents the problem as, you know, Eric and the Misfits actually creating problems. Mm-hmm. Like, saying, oh, fame is your worst enemy, like, I saw the movie Rockstar, alright? I've heard of Hannah Montana, like, don't sell me this story again.
Yeah.
Like, sell me a story that I would actually care about. Like, there's an actual problem being caused by a different person. Like, oh, she just rose to fame too fast, she can't handle... No, I've seen it. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not even new.
Yeah.
The spin they tried to put on it, it's not new. Like, only... younger preteen, mid-teen girls are going to want to see this, but they're not even going to get the reference.
No,
you know?
Like, it's being sold to nobody who would care.
Because, you know, like, they have those graphs, like, this circle represents the people who like the original series. This circle represents people who like Camp Rock and Hannah Montana. You'll notice these circles aren't overlapping.
Exactly.
Like, you done screwed the pooch, alright? We're just saying that. Shame on you, John Chu. Shame on you.
Alright, well, that's about where we need to wrap it up, because it's exactly been 1 hour, and we're probably going to go over by wrapping it all up.
Yes.
But thank you very much for hanging out with us this episode, and the season as a whole. I'm really excited, because next season we're going to start putting this show up on Channel Awesome.
Woo!
Wish us luck on that one. Could be dangerous waters, who knows. But I'm excited to try, and thank you once again to the Patreon contributors. Find out more over at patreon.com/MarsGirl if you want to see stuff show up here in the ticker that you would like to advertise for yourself. And we're going to take a 4-week hiatus. You can expect us back in approximately another 4 weeks from tonight.
If we're lucky, it'll time out with San Diego Comic-Con, if we're lucky. Because I hate that every time we've taken a hiatus, we come back too late. And I always want to be right on it.
We might... Are we going to miss E3?
I think we might miss E3.
Well, crap. In any case, so it'll still be, as always, Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Central. Be sure to follow us on Twitter to find out when exactly we're going to come back, because these dates are a little bit fluid right now, but it'll be about a 1-month hiatus. But please... do follow us on Twitter. I am at MarsGirl.
And I'm at Josh Knight First.
Yes, so thank you very much for hanging out with us for another episode of Beyond the Black Rooms.
And we will see you guys next season.